All right, so that was super sketchy because it really didn't want to fit in between that section, and I was knocking stuff down and trying not to hit the car and everything else. But if you guys know what the end locker is, you got a pretty good guess as to what else we're doing today. So you guys let me know what you think. Hang out. We'll have another fun one. This is, in my opinion, what every car person needs. So you guys let me know what you think, and let's keep going at it, and then we'll talk about it. All right. Have you ever had that project or that idea and you're like, oh, I can handle this, so I can do it, you know, by myself type of thing? And then you start to do it and you're like, oh, I got this. And then you get to that one part or that one little moment and you're like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done this by myself. That was that. So we'll talk about it, but that was like 360 pounds. And I was like, oh, I got it. And then I was like, oh crap, maybe I don't. All right, let's keep going. All right, guys, welcome back to another one. So in this episode, we're going to go through what every car enthusiast needs, my opinion, and that's a place to store their tools. Now, for most all of us, as enthusiasts, we like to work on our own vehicles as much as we can, if not exclusively. I know for myself, I do absolutely everything on my cars unless it's just either too technical or I don't have the equipment, you know. So like even getting my tires mounted, that was one of those things I was like, man, I really wish I wish I had just had access to, you know, a tire machine and a balancer, because I would love to just do them myself. But since I didn't have access, okay, cool, I got to outsource it. I got to have somebody do it. And, you know, in that case, I went to a place I trusted, Brothers Garage, and they took care of it for me. But everything else is as much as I can work on it. So I'm going to show you guys, as you see, I'm in a really small garage, but what I did was I went out and got myself a couple toolboxes to handle, one, the tools I want to put in, and then two, some equipment I already have. So a little different for the way I'm going to set it up, and you guys will see, is I got the one box that's going to be all for tools, and then I got another box that is going to be all for camera equipment. Still tools for me, you know what I mean? So I needed a place to store it and everything else. We've had a discussion in one of my other videos where I had talked about maybe blocking off like my door that enters and just having my roll-up door. So I'll show you guys that too. If you guys have noticed, you know, a couple of you with your keen eyes that noticed that there's something in the background, or that I changed the layout of the way I had my yellow box containers and everything, and that's to make room for all of this. So we're gonna get it set up. I'm gonna talk about it. We'll do a little fast forward. I'll get it put in place and everything else, and then we'll have that discussion. And I'll talk to you guys about how I saved a ton of money. Okay, I know there's plenty of videos out there where it's like, oh yeah, you know, go to Harbor Freight, not Snap-on. Go to, you know, Harbor Freight and not, you know, Mac or one of those for one of their big boxes, and everybody's adding, you know, your end lockers, your side lockers, your other end locker, you know, the big hutch and everything else, which I love those. Like honestly, those videos to me are great. The thing is you got to have the space for it. So if you know, you work in, you know, the field as a professional and you have a gigantic garage and you can fit all that, that's awesome. Get the biggest, the most, you know, gigantic box that you can set up and just have a blast filling it. For me, I was restricted for space. I only have so much space in here. So you'll see how we did this. We're going to run Harbor Freight's US General. We're going to run their Series 3. And I got the 42 and the 27. Okay, let me get those set up. I'll get them in place. And then I'm going to talk to you guys why I got this and how you can save a ton of money going this route. All right, guys, so that's it. What do you think of the setup? So I'd love to get you guys' opinions. Let me know what you think. One of the things I wanted to discuss with you guys was the money I saved. So I'm sure most of you have been on Harbor Freight. You've looked at both their US General and their Icon series. Their Icon series is way more expensive. It is more professional. The drawers are tighter and stronger and all of that. It's a cool setup. And again, if you want that whole like hutch setup and everything else, yeah, that's cool. One of the things I was going to tell you guys was, you know, how I saved money on this. So the 42 inch, this one, all right, so the 42 inch and the 27 inch. Now, when you add them up together, you get 69 inches, right? So in the larger of the US General boxes, they have either a 56 or a 72, at least at the time that, you know, I'm doing this video. So the 56 as just a single unit was more expensive than both of these units. The 72, which is, you know, closer, it's within 3 inches. That one was almost double, almost double the price of what I spent on these two. So that's where my thought process was. I didn't want the hutch, you know, the whole upper piece with the little garage door and everything. If you want the hutch, it's the 56 or the 72. Those are the ones that you can do the add-on of the hutch for. But I didn't need it. Again, if I was working at a professional garage and everything else, I probably would have considered, you know, the 72 for that reason with a big hutch, because whatever mess you make right here, you can literally just shut the hutch and lock it and who cares, you're done, right? But I didn't need that. What I needed was I needed a place for pretty much a standard set or an above standard set of tools and a place to put my camera gear. So I was looking at sizes and everything else, and then, you know, my overall room size, which you guys can tell I'm at my limit. So that was what my consideration was. Now, I was able to pick up both of these boxes at one of their sale times. At the time, they were offering 25% off any of their toolboxes, their US General boxes is what it was at the time. And so I got both of these boxes for 25% off. They ended up costing me, I think it was just under $800 at the time. So like, I think it was like $795 or something like that, $790, $780 something after tax, you know. So out the door, I got these two boxes. I did need a little extra storage for like just the junk that you know, the bigger items that was on the floor. And that's why I ended up with the side locker. Plus, as you can see, my literal width is almost exact. So with these racks here, I have, you know, about an inch, maybe an inch and a half of play in between the two. Later on, I did find a set of racks that Costco sells that I might end up switching to. We'll see how it goes. Where the yellow containers slide in this way with the racks being the way they are right now. So that would actually be perfect for me, because then at that point I can move in and out of all of these boxes super easy if I need to. Otherwise, really everything that's here is almost long-term storage for me anyways, so I don't really need to get into them, which is great. But back to the boxes. So I was able to get them for a great deal. The 72 inch, I think, is like $17.99, I want to say, like $1,800. They do drop it on sale every now and then, so if you guys are paying attention, you can definitely, I mean, Harbor Freight's great for sales, you know, so just keep your eye out every week, every month, they drop their sales. You know, I'm not sponsored. I wouldn't mind being sponsored, you know, we can do that, we can do a little of this, we can do my other favorite, you know, whatever. But yeah, so that's the goal of the boxes. Again, the goal of the end locker here was for some of the bigger stuff, you know, so, you know, floor jack, drain pans, buckets, you know, I'll work on exactly where everything's going to go and why, and everything for it's going to be super fluid, because I'll start a certain way, and then as I collect more, if, you know, it makes sense to change it, that's what I'm going to do. So I really think I got the best of both worlds here. The one down, which I'm sure you guys have already dropped the comments, especially if you're one of the either owners or lovers of the bigger box. The one thing I lose is this upper drawer and the second drawer in the bigger boxes. So I still get the same depth drawer. It's just as deep this way. It's just as deep this way. Okay. And the top one always seems to be the socket drawer, because you can pretty much leave all your sockets up and down. That's already what I started collecting in this one, was putting my sockets in this one. And then typically this long drawer is for like wrenches and stuff like that. You know, everything that's not as thick, right? So I'll set mine up the same way. Now, where I'm at a loss here is both on the 56 and the 72, these two drawers would extend. So, you know, on the 72, this drawer is literally all of this with no separation. And this one is the same way. All of this is, you know, and then for the 56, you know, you're out here somewhere right around here, and that's all one big drawer. Now, if you're a professional and you got 1,000 sockets and you need all that room, you know you need all that room. I didn't need all that room. And then for me, 99.9% of the time, if not even a little bit further out on those decimal points, I only work on imports. I very, very rarely work on anything that's standard. So my entire toolbox is going to be metric. There will be very, very few tools that are standard. So I don't need the extra space. So again, for me, this worked out great. The end lockers, just so you guys know, they have a warning on them that they're only to be hung on the 42 or larger. I'm sure it's just too heavy once it's loaded for the 27. But just as a heads up. Now, the other thing, which I guess, I mean, if you do enough research, it's, you know, you'll come across this. Don't just pull the trigger real quick on a 7256 or a 56 and then add one of these. The heights don't match up. The heights are off just a little bit because the casters that are on them are a different size. So, you know, if you really want a 56 and you're like, but I could use a little extra space, you know, and you're like, oh, this 27 for drawer size is perfect. The two won't match up. You'll either have to lift this one or put a different set of casters on it or something else to make it fit. So both the 42 and the 27 are the same height. Again, that's why they made up perfect. And if you guys missed it, they actually, I'm able to bolt them together too. So this is essentially one big piece at this point. And it does kind of offset the weight that I'm putting in the end locker. But, you know, once they're weighted down and everything else, they ain't going nowhere. And then a little side note for one of the reasons I wanted it so bad. Well, I guess one of the reasons the end lockers on this side too is the doors right there. So where I'm at, that door is like a hollow door and it's in a hallway, and yeah, it is a deadbolt, but it's really not a solid door, and the door frame isn't really a solid door frame. I'm in a good area, okay? You guys know I'm in Northern Virginia where I'm at. There's, you know, that knock on wood that, you know, everything's pretty good in the neighborhood. But if there was to be a problem and somebody had kicked in that door, nobody would know. And I wouldn't know until the morning or, you know, whatever time I happen to come back out and walk past the garage. So this right here solves that problem, okay? It more than solves that problem. This is 180 pounds unloaded with nothing in it. So, you know, it's quite a bit more than that now. And the 42 is like 300 and some odd pounds, 360, 380, something like that, I forget. Unloaded before you put all your tools in it. That door isn't coming open. Now, I still do have a regular garage roll-up door. That's fine, okay? And if somebody wants to come in that bad, it is what it is. Like, you know, nothing I can do about that. So, but they're not coming in and quiet. Anyways, that's enough of that. Now, on the tool side of things, I need to start collecting tools. I mean, you guys saw, if you guys saw the setup in here before, I had like a nice little set of tools and then like a tool bag, but basically I had everything up here, right? I just kind of hung it, and it was a good spot. Like, it was easy to get to, it looked good, whatever, you know, and I could just kind of grab the handful of tools I needed. Well, now that this is open, we're gonna put some good decoration. You can see I already put my valve cover that I had pulled off the car. We're gonna do some custom stuff with that later, but you know, there's always a plan. There's always a plan. So, but yeah, we'll get that fixed back out so it's got some good stuff on it, and then we need to start collecting tools. So I would love to hear y'all's comments. Okay, drop those comments on what you think about tools and everything else. I think the tool discussion is super interesting. So now, my thought process, and you guys can kill me in the comments, you can add to it, let me know what you think. I'm already invested in Milwaukee. So again, I'm not getting paid for any of this. Milwaukee's been coming out with a ton of great stuff. So most of the, you know, electric type tools, those are going to be Milwaukee. So like 3/8 stubby impact, you know, the little 1/4 inch. I have the one little ratchet. I really want the long neck ratchet that's kind of like that snap-on one. I want to get that. I just haven't been able to. Again, just collecting stuff. And then when it moves over to the hand tools, so this is going to be the funny part. I really want to see if I can collect more of the Japanese tool brands. I just want to call them JDM because I think it fits better. So what I was thinking was, you know, there's a handful of really good ones, and I'm not knocking any of the other brands or anything else, you know, that you can get from any of your other local hardware stores. I mean, even the stuff I've got in here that I used and I really don't have any problem with is, you know, I've got old school Craftsman that I've had forever. I've got, like, at one point I bought like a DeWalt set, so I got some of that in there. And again, I'm not knocking any of this stuff. It works fine. But if I'm going to start collecting tools and really, you know, investing in them, I think I just want to go with one of the Japanese brands. So you guys start listing them down below, what you guys think, what you've owned, what you got. You know, the Tone, I really like the product they put out. I've talked with their representatives both here in the US and in Japan, and it's one of those things when you have really good interaction, and then on top of that, the tools, you know, or whatever that product is, functions well. It really makes it easier, you know, to drop money or invest in something like that. So that's my thought there, is trying to do one of the JDM brands. doing one of the Japanese companies. There's 2 or 3, and then for the other stuff, ease of use and everything else, again, Harbor Freight. I will more than likely keep an eye out on their Icon line. So, you know, I'm sure you guys already know, if you're watching this and you've stayed for this long, you know, they have their different levels of what they have there, and they have their entry level that's, you know, it still functions, and it still has a warranty, but it usually doesn't last as long. So what I'll probably do is I'll keep an eye out, and as they have a sale, I'll invest in, you know, a couple Icon tools here and there. And then my idea is to then start filling in, you know, my sockets, my ratchets, my wrenches, all of that with one of the Japanese companies. And then, you know, like when I'm at Tokyo Auto Salon and everything else, they're there as vendors. You can pick up tools for a good price then. And it gives me another excuse to go to Japan. So, you know, I'm able to bring more fun stuff from Japan for you guys. But that's kind of that idea. And then, of course, my camera gear over here on this side, that always kind of swaps in and out. I have a couple key pieces that I stay with, you know, my DJI stuff, my gimbal will change from here to there. Sometimes my bodies change. I usually run a Sony body, or 2 or 3 or 4. Like, it kind of just depends on what it is at the time. And same for my lenses. Usually I run one of their G's or G Master Sony lenses. And then it just kind of depends on my shooting style at the time, or what I want to do, you know, for what I you know, I want to use. But this whole run will be all camera gear and like all of that kind of stuff. And I started filling it out. Like, I've even got like my new, so like, you know, I start playing with drones and everything else. So I've got that in here. We're running drone stuff, my bodies and everything else, which was another reason I wanted a box, because I want to be able to come home and unload down here and secure it and lock it up. I run a couple like Pelican cases when I'm on travel and everything else, and I need to throw stuff in my car and bring actual equipment with me. So when I would get home, like, I'd have a Pelican case, and like the one thing I didn't want to do was, like, I didn't want to come home and grab like one of my Pelican cases, right, and be like, okay, cool, let me just leave it there, because, you know, then you can literally just grab a case full of whatever I happen to leave in it and be like, hey, thanks, you know. So just one of those things. So I can load it up, I can unload it, you know. When I was in California in my office, I had I think it was a 62 or something like that. And the way I had that set up was I had it set up with no tools, and it was just all camera gear. And my one big drawer I would open up, I had the foam cutouts and everything else. So that'll be what I work in on this for, like, the bodies and the lenses, just so they don't move around when you open up the drawers. But that's kind of the idea. So you guys, let me know what you think. Drop your comments. Maybe a little overkill for, you know, the regular automotive enthusiast. But I think we all do it, you know, like, especially with tools and, you know, toolboxes and everything else. The second we can add a larger one, or get a second one, or get more, like, we all do it, like we do, you know. So this was just kind of my idea, my plan. If you guys like this, if you guys like these kind of videos, and you want me to mix these in when I get tools, when I get something new that's nifty, fun, something in from Japan or whatever, I can pop in. I can either do a full video on it, or I can do it as a little side. Oh, hey, I'm working on the car. Hey, look at my new tool I got, and just keep kind of going. But if you guys want more like full reviews or whatever else, I'm I'm more than happy to do videos like that. You guys let me know. You know, I enjoy doing all of this, so I'm here for you. If it's something that it's what you want to see, just let me know. Drop it in the comments. As always, drop it in the comments or DM me. Just let me know. So, if you guys have hung out all the way to the end, thank you very much. As always, thank you for your support, okay? Now that I'm here in the Northeast, we had to wait. So you'll hear me say it a couple times. The meets, the cars and coffees, the shows, everything's getting ready to come back online right now. Everybody's starting to talk about it, and they're starting to drop dates. So we're going to get back in it. We're going to start getting busy with that. We're going to take the EK9 out, start having fun with the EK9, and just get back at it. So you guys, if you have anything you want me to go to, if you have anything, you know, you want to discuss, camera related, drone related, you know, tool related, Harbor Freight related, whatever, you guys drop that comment or drop me a DM. I'd be more than happy to talk with you guys about it, and we'll keep having fun. All right, guys, I'll see you at the next one. Thank you again for everything. Out. I'll see you.